Um, oh, and Panthers is sick of dealing with that Beastmaster. Oh,
Oh
well,
yeah, I mean,
Beastmaster.
we saw last game just how much of an impact he had. He was actually the richest hero for much of the late game there until Gyro finally eclipsed him near the end. But I mean, he had such an obscene impact and some beautiful item choices, obviously as well. Getting that Necro incredibly early, just foregoing the mech. Had brown boots by the time he had Necro, and was just playing really, really nicely, but not wanting to give that up. And the Mongols, I mean, rightly so, banning out the Naga Siren, just seeing how obscenely annoying that hero can be, especially when you have a BKB user. It is either, I mean, it's either basically 5-on-1, or you just get put to sleep and get into a horrible position anyway. So I think the Mongols using their bans very wisely. The Panthers, though, pick up a Lifestealer. No really big infest targets at the moment. Nature's Prophet, always a possibility, obviously. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you don't have a puck, you don't have any blinkers dead set on it at the moment. At the very least, Nature's Prophet is a TP scroll for him, though.
Oh yeah, and just want to talk about Beastmaster a little bit more. He is the quote-unquote Beastmaster, and yeah, they had Beastmaster up against the Panthers. I'm sorry, that was very very.
Oh my god, it's the worst joke you've ever made.
Yeah, but okay, going back to looking at just purely at the heroes, Panthers, their lineup, it does remind me a little bit of what Alliance's draft looks like, or even in some sense, Fnatic. Whereas Mongols, their lineup is very similar to what B Gaming does, or yeah, Speed Gaming does it, Fnatic does it. If they grab a Mirana right now, that would have been just what Speed loves to have. Having that Visage, having that Luna, having that Mirana, all being ranged and just having so much burst. And then you have Moonlight Shadow, high movement speed, high mobility, and yeah. So this is still questionable. No idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah, not too
Um,
sure, really. It seems like, I mean, I understand Luna, obviously a good hero and all that she does, but she is one of those heroes that really does need a BKB to live through things, and with Bane there, just ready to Fiend's Grip, you really do need a Nyx Assassin available, but I suppose as long as you always stick familiars onto the Bane, you can guarantee that Luna will be doing a lot in a team fight. But I mean, Lifestealer, I feel, is one of those heroes that's quite good against Luna as well. Obviously she can do quite a bit of damage against him, but with Open Wound, she doesn't have a hard and fast escape in her. And that can basically mean that instead of Lifestealer having to tunnel vision onto a support and take them out, he can actually just tunnel vision onto Luna.
Yeah, and then right now there's still no answer for the Lifestealer pick. Nyx Assassin, Visage. If the Luna's ever in trouble, they won't be the ones saving the Luna. So perhaps if they do decide, hey, it should be a mid-solo Nyx Assassin or even the offlane Nyx Assassin, then they have the option to pick up another support. Ooh, and they still have the opportunity if they run the offlane Nyx Assassin to grab a support who can deal with the Lifestealer in rage form. Couple of things come to mind. A Trian Protector, as unpopular as that hero has been
Yeah,
in our tournament. Let's see what else. Shadow Demon is another good one.
Yeah.
And it deals great with the Bane. And it gives Luna so much pushing power as well, because the illusions, they're gonna have the bouncing glaives as well. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, Shadow Demon's not, and it's a good setup for Nyx Assassin.
What do you think of this
Anything else?
Earthshaker pickup, though? I mean, that's another hero that we do not see get that much play.
Earthshaker, there's so many ways to play Earthshaker. From a long time ago, when Puppy invented like the level 1 roaming Earthshaker, coupled with Kuro's mid-solo Tinker, that was a pretty big breakthrough for that hero. And it used to be just staple pickup for every Chinese Dota game. Like it's first pick material, but now it's kind of fallen off because there's so much more variety of heroes. People are looking for supports that can jungle, can do multiple things, but pairing up with the Bane and Lifestealer, it's okay, I suppose. Lifestealer, it's gonna be hard for him to die.
Oh yeah, it seems like
Mirana.
Lifestealer should be having a pretty easy game as far as living is concerned this time around. And I had a hero in my head for what Mongolz could be or maybe should be picking, but it's gone now. And it definitely wasn't a Darkseer. Oh well, but nonetheless, I mean, Darkseer is here now. Yeah, and he's here to stay. Not too sure. There just doesn't seem to be an answer for the Lifestealer that I can see, however, and that makes me pretty worried, I have to say. But I digress. Let's get into who's playing who. Over on the Panthers, it looks like we have a reconnect. This will give us ample time to tell you who is playing who. We got Kipo playing as the Ben, Senior Hydra as the Lifestealer, TJ going to be the Marana, Shiny going to be this Earthshaker, and Kriz going to be the Nature's Prophet. And Mito, would you like to take the Mongolz?
Yep, on the Radiant team we have the Mongolz, and Paxai will be playing as a carry Luna, Storm once again on the Nyx Assassin as a support, Nelly will be playing the support Visage, Sunky will be playing as a mid solo, Puck, and finally we have Masquerade playing the offlane Doxia. I just want to point out though, would it be possible for Panthers to run, say, a solo lane Lifestealer and go aggressive tri-lane? The Bane, Mirana, and Earthshaker. It is pretty strong, but then again, Mongolz, the supporting duo.
I just feel like if you ever put Lifestealer up against a Darkseer, he will invariably have a really bad time. But something I want to actually draw attention to that I find quite odd, at least just on a personal basis, is that Paxa, even before moving out as Luna, has opted to get 1 point in Lunar Blessing, and as is my, well, understanding and thought process is you wait long and hard until you put that first point into anything. And as we saw, wasn't last game, but a couple of games ago, is that not putting that 1 point into Lucent Beam early on actually cost them the first blood.
Indeed. And wow, everybody seems to have this Luna set. It's just so beautiful, so gorgeous. But I didn't say, hey, Lifestealer has to go up against, say, the Doxia. I don't know. They have interesting lanes, so, but I don't really know. Mid solo Mirana?
Yeah, I mean, you could run that. If we're just talking about possibilities as far as the lanes, though, I mean, who do you think is actually going to be going mid? Actually, now that I look at the Panthers lineup.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out as well.
Like, it could be a Nature's Prophet, and you could send Trents all over Puck, but it's really not going to do very much. You know what? It might be even...
I prefer the Nature's Prophet mid.
Yeah, I want to say it could be a Bane, obviously, because you get that Enfeeble down, and it makes last hitting an obscene chore, but I think that obviously the Mirana and Bane combo lane is just vastly too strong to opt for. We could even do Nature's Prophet solo, Mirana and Bane together, and then you can have Earthshaker and Lifestealer together in the mid if they really wanted to.
Yeah, Earthshaker's not going to do very much for the Lifestealer though. Highly unnecessary in my opinion. If you're going to grab Earthshaker, it's best to pair up with a range hero that needs protection. If you run dual lane, Lifestealer plus Earthshaker, they can't really do anything to the Puck. They can't really do anything to the Doxia unless you get the perfect block. Even then, it's still going to be relatively hard. You can TP out, but I just feel it might potentially be an aggressive trial lane. I'm just thinking long and hard.
Yeah, I'm just not 100% sure. I think if anything, you were right the first time and probably sending Lifestealer solo top. More likely than not, going to be against a Darkseer, so he's not going to have a terrific time, but I mean, with this tri-lane that you have in Mirana, Bane, and Earthshaker, it seems like you're almost guaranteed to get a few kills, no matter what you're up against, and especially against something like a Luna, who doesn't have any form of natural escape. I mean, she's going to have to be incredibly careful, and I mean, with both Mirana and Bane being ranged, and do actually both of them outrange the Luna? Luna's sitting at 330, Bane definitely does, Mirana will then guarantee it as well. It seems like she's going to be having a difficult time. You have Visage obviously able to pepper them, but he is very slow. And if they even decide to turn and return fire on him, he's going to be taking quite a few hits himself.
Yeah, and don't forget, the fights can always become a 4 against 3, because Furin can always pour in at any time of the game, whenever he feels like it. And Furin should have the upper hand in terms of room control over the Puck. Simply because he can use the teleport to just fly over, or he can send Treants. Summon Treants, have each one sitting at a rune spot and just deny the rune, and never have to leave the lane. And if he takes enough harassments from the Puck, TP home, come right back. So yeah, it's gonna be fine. In terms of trialing versus trialing, though, it feels like the engagement is going to be coming up from Panthers, and if they get, I feel like if they do initiate, they will get the kill on the Luna, but someone will die simply because of the way Visage works. It's the constant nuking combo coming out.
Well, that is true, obviously. Yeah, that's the thing is also whenever you do play against a Visage or with one even, you have this slight sense of if somebody does try and get a gank, we can at the very least get 1-for-1 or a 1-for-2 trade. It always feels like you're never giving up a single kill for nothing when you have a Visage, unless, of course, he's the one that happens to get out of position and has a pretty rough time then. But, like, yeah, it pretty much seems like if you're going trial and try, it'll only be a tit-for-tat sort of situation, and neither one will really come out massively ahead unless, of course, Visage just gets slept arrowed, and I mean that is it's a bad place to be in.
Yeah, and Brief, don't forget to start showing the game stats when the game gets going. Last hits and net worth and whatnot. We don't want people to get upset over these kind of stuff.
I know, I saw Climax, he's talking about it. Please now change game stats. Boom! Look at those last hits and denies, everybody. Or do you want levels? It's all the same. Nothing has happened, but look at those last hits and denies up there, quick as can be, just to make sure I don't forget.
Yeah, that's good. And now everyone's back in the game. Well, so we're good to go, finally. Hurrah.
Oh, terrific, and looks like we can finally get into this game and hopefully have everything work out really nicely. And right away, Kriz, he's got those two natures, or those two treants doing whatever they possibly can, just walking away. And, I mean, so clearly not going to be sending one to each rune. Instead, might just be going straight for a jungle, and I'm still a little uncertain about what these lanes are going to be. Looks like Mirana actually getting pooled, and it's going to be a mid Mirana. Looks like Kipo actually going to be going with this with this Lifestealer along with Shiny, and we're going to have an off-lane Nature's Prophet with Boots and a pooled Tango. So, I mean, these are some pretty unexpected lanes. I guess you just always get into that mindset that Mirana and Bane combo is just too strong to let out, but, I mean, this is pretty strong, too.
I don't like the laning choices coming on Panthers, though. Mirana has a pretty hard time up against Puck, because none of his spells are ever going to hit the Puck. And Puck starts out, look at how much base damage Puck has right now. I mean, sure, he's got the Lunar Blessing, so... but still has a significant last-hitting advantage over the Mirana. Your arrows are going to hit because of phase shift. Same with your Starfall. Either one you cast, he's just going to phase shift and then stay safe. At most, you can land one out of the two. At the same time, because you're running a melee carry, which is a Lifestealer, then Darkseer is going to be a pest. If he starts out in the jungle and rotates when he hits level 3, which seems like what he's going to be doing, hiding out in the jungle already, then it's going to be pretty annoying for the Lifestealer, like, especially if Darkseer gets the double Iron Show off.
Oh yeah, and I mean, then it just feels like your supports are forced to try and burst that one creep down, and it's a little bit of a waste when it comes right down to it as well. And like Nature's Prophet, as far as his bottom lane is concerned, there's no way he's going to be having a good time here with Luna here just waiting in the wings. And if Visage ever shows his face, I mean, yeah, he's got brown boots, so he's not going to be dying anytime soon, but he's not going to be getting any farm either.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to see a jungle Darkseer, which means the tri-lane plus a Darkseer can potentially kill the Furon over and over again. Once Darkseer gets some levels, puts a Surge onto the next assassin, then, oh, you're looking at a Nature's Prophet in trouble.
And then immediately seeing that the Darkseer hasn't gone top, we have this rotation coming out of Shiny. He does have a smoke available. Not too sure exactly where he's going. Maybe wrapping around, trying to find somebody either in the jungle or maybe even this Puck. But, I mean, I don't know if too much is really going to come out of it when it comes down to it. Nyx Assassin obviously just waiting in the wings. Kriz trying his very best to, I mean, leech whatever EXP he can get. But this is going to be really difficult to actually deal with. None of these camps have been blocked as well. Well, I suppose this Trent right on the Magic Bush doing his job. And if they're not scouting this out and they're not finding it, Nature's Prophet might be able to actually get a few more levels than you'd normally expect one to have.
Yeah, when you look at Doxy, it's level 3. Thanks to Nelly using that illusion room to stack up certain camps. Yeah, Masquerade, he's ready to head off to the off lane if he wants to. Level 3 usually is the right level for
Oh, and we
Doxia to
see
rotate to lane.
some cheeky Earthshaker blocking going on, feeding them to the Ancients. Going to be denying Luna quite a bit of EXP and farm. And you know what? I quite like this because the only really downside of this, especially if it goes uncontested, which I mean eventually they'll probably get a ward there, is that whoever is stuck under tower has to eat up a bunch of damage usually. But if all he does is cast Treants, he'll be fine. And you can just make them tank it for him. So, I mean, he should be doing okay. Now it looks like we actually might have a gank onto Puck. Kipo going in. Finally, that arrow might actually land. Yes, indeed it will. And this might be enough. A TP in from Kriz as well. Nice stun on 2. Coming out of Storm, though. Enough, almost enough to save this Puck. And now Storm wants to keep something happening. Is only level 1, however, and really does need to get out of here. Kriz can't quite finish him off, and neither can this Bane. But First Blood going the way of the Panthers. So, like you're saying, Mirana's arrow's never going to hit unless, of course, you have Bane rotating around.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Earthshaker rotating to offlane, doing these pulls. This is much better than the original laning that they started with. And these rotations are much needed from
Masquerade
Phanters.
in a little bit of trouble. Not quite enough damage or mana to... You could Brain Sap him, not going to kill him. You couldn't quite Nightmare him in time, and because of that, he's going to get away. But now he's starting to use those Ion Shells, was actually being quite a bit of a pest to Senior Hydra, and I mean, that's just going to constantly happen with level 3 Darkseer, probably level 4 now, yes indeed. And I mean, yeah, like you're saying, Earthshaker, just pulling these people into the Ancient Camp, that is just terrific. Not so much for Paxa, but I mean, a nice... what am I going? A nice difference that they've made, a nice change that they've made in their original lineup. But however, now Nature's Prophet not here to tank these creeps and deal with them. This tower is going to be taking an obscene amount of damage.
Yeah, but at the same time, Earthshaker will get some additional levels. And Darkseer at top. It's lucky for the lifesteal that he hasn't been using the double Iron Shell. But at the same time, this is partially, apart from the medium camps being like switched around, but this is another nerf to Doxia. Because of the way the lanes work in the off lane, it's so much closer to your tower. So when you put down the Iron Shell, it actually pushes the lane unfavorably. So it's a trade-off when you put on double Iron Shell.
Now Storm,
the reason
way too deep in enemy territory. Arrow flies, but doesn't actually land. A little bit of a misplay, it seems, from Panther, or maybe just some sweet little juke coming from Storm. He looks like he wants to stay here. Not too sure why. Nelly, though, able to pepper everybody he could ever want with these illusions. And with Soul Assumption here, you need to be quite scared of basically that cannon that Visage has underneath those wings. However, though, I mean, if you look at the last hits, it definitely seems like Mongolz, while giving up free farm to this Lifestealer, they're doing quite nicely in and of themselves. Not as many rotations coming out of them, and therefore everybody able to stick in their lane a little bit longer and find those last hits, find that farm that they really do want on those core heroes.
Yeah, but if you look at it...
Now Masquerade,
Mongolz,
though, he's in a little bit of trouble. This Ion Shell doing quite a bit of damage to Senior Hydra, but not enough. And some beautiful body blocks coming out of Kipo. Gets put to sleep right when he wants him to, right outside. And now because Kriz is here, this is going to be a dead Darkseer.
Oh man, that was a beautiful play by Bane Elemental. And Darkseer was aware that the moment he surges, Kipo would just sleep him. But at the same time, he was forced to use the surge because Kipo was doing like some wonderful body blocks. And sure, like, I mean, what else can you say? It was just a wonderful play.
Oh yeah, some nice play coming out of Kipo for sure.
And they're just finding everything they want so far in terms of laning, surprisingly. Except for maybe the Mirana. Still
now
struggling
Storm,
a bit more.
Gonna be catching the Mirana. Can Storm get that stun? Not quite fast enough, and Nelly not able to get the Grave Chill as well, or the Soul Assumption off, so a failed gank for Mongolz on TJ there. Not too well, and now Masquerade opting and being basically forced to surge around. He's got Ion Shells going down, but it's not quite enough, and he can't really use it on any of these Treants, so just send him home. While that's happening, it looks like we have an engagement on the bot. Soul Assumption doing an obscene amount, and it just looks like Shiny can't quite get past his own rock to get to that Nyx Assassin, but you always have that Nature's Prophet ult there to clean him up and do quite a bit of damage to him, so... Nice little kill going the way of Nature's Prophet, but Mirana does finally fall, giving Puck a little bit of extra breathing room.
Yeah, and if you notice, Mongols, they continue to do their stacks once again. Oh man, they're just so efficient with these stacks and just like utilizing it to its full effectiveness. And yeah, Masquerade, now that he's hit level 6, should be able to put on a little bit more pressure onto Senior Hydra, like zoning him out with the Iron Shell. Yeah, I mean, we're still not seeing the double Iron Shells coming out though.
Kipo trying very hard to actually get a sleep on Puck in the mid. However, I mean, Sanke playing this perfectly. Instead, just getting ever so slightly out of the range of that Bane with the Illusory Orb, and I believe it's called, where is it? It's Illusory Jaunt. Ethereal Jaunt. Not quite Illusory Jaunt. And now, Masquerade, once again, incredibly deep in enemy territory, doesn't even see the Bane Elemental, and it just looks like this might be a repeat coming up of what happened before. There is a sleep available, but no, instead, decides against it. Senior Hydra, I suppose, at this low level, and without too much, can't deal so well with the Ion Shells, but I mean, you can always get Nature's Prophet in there. As I speak, and maybe talk a little bit too much about the top lane, looks like Paxa gets a solo kill on the Earthshaker. Nyx Assassin there to help with a mana burn. Maybe not a solo, it looks like a double kill. Or at least 2 heroes there. Oh, trying to combine too many words in my mouth at the same time. Paxa though gets a kill, gonna be enjoying that.
Yeah, I mean, and he takes a tower, so that's pretty good. And now Panthers, they're gonna look for
oh, Invisible Masquerade! Go, Ion Shell, go! Puck able to finish him off. Almost doesn't even need Masquerade there.
Yeah. Oh, so did Masquerade pick up an
Oh, but Paxa now open wounded, can't quite get away. It looks like we have an engagement going on down in the bot. Storm running for his life. If there can be one nice fissure block, but decides against it. And now, while that's happening, it looks like Kipo trying to push and pressure this top tower, at least force somebody to get there. And so, I mean, you're going tit for tat on most of these kills, but when it comes down to it, Lifestealer, he hasn't died yet, he's gotten 1 kill, and you have Luna who has died, he's gotten 1 kill. I mean, you gotta give that slight edge to Lifestealer, I feel.
Well, Luna can always catch up with Flash Farm. Now that he has Helm Dominator, we'll be looking to start stacking the Ancient Camp. As well as, there's still a stack here that he hasn't taken. And if the supports continue to stack up more and more and more, then yeah, sure, Hand of Midas is gonna help Lifestealer, but eventually Luna will still be able to outfarm the Lifestealer. The question comes though, when you start taking the fights till late game, who is gonna do the tanking for the Luna? You have the Darkseer with the Vacuum Wall, but eventually Luna still has to get up close. There's a lot of great initiation, don't get me wrong, but if the Lifestealer ever comes in close with the, say, Lifestealer Bomb with the Furion, then Luna will still get ultimately shut down by Abyssal. But apart from that, Luna will have a pretty good time.
I don't know, I'd be really worried about the Bane myself. Just in general, trying to deal with that can be a huge headache for Luna. She doesn't have any way to really get out of it. Needs to rely on basically familiars and excuse me, familiars and Nyx Assassin to deal with it.
Yeah, as we predicted though, Sanke does have he's definitely completely dominated the lane with 55 last hits and 28 denies, whereas the Mirana only has being forced to use Starfall to actually get some last hits in. Yeah, so overall, Mongolz doing very well in terms of last hitting.
Yeah, but when it comes down to, I mean, let's see who exactly is actually doing better. Sub 1,000, the Mongols in favor of the Mongols right now, so not too bad by any means. Looks like we got 500 difference in experience in favor of them as well, but that's pretty much nothing. And now we have a beautiful little Infest Bomb coming out of Kriz there, going from the top lane and basically giving a TP to Senior Hydra there. And is that an assist for him as well? Yes, indeed, it does count for that, so not too bad at all. And with that, I mean, now they can put pressure on this bottom tower, and it's starting to feel a little bit like Mongols. They need to start making something happen right now, because this Lifestealer is going to come online way faster than the Luna will.
Yeah, and if he finds a jungle stack, oh, never mind, the jungle stack's already been taken. But yeah, Mongols, I feel like they need to use the Luna as a bait and bait those like Lifestealer bombs to come in, and then they can turn the fight around. Sure. if Lifestealer wants to go on the Luna before he gets a Abyssal or anything, Surge from Masquerade will always keep the Luna alive. Now we have a Surge Snake Assassin.
Ooh, finds a Bane. Kipo, though, in a heap of trouble. Got some TPs coming in. Soul Assumption, not quite enough to finish him off. Brain Sap, though, being used very nicely, as well as a Wand. Kipo still living through everything. Finally, a Soul Assumption is there. It looks like Shiny doesn't quite have enough mana. 170, there it is. There's the Fissure to finish off Nelly. Can't do too much. And it looks like an arrow landing on Masquerade as well. So you're trading a Bane for your Darkseer and a Visage. Not the best of trades. It looks like Sankey has picked up his Blink Dagger, however. Happened only a little while ago. But can't make too much use of it with all of those heroes there and no backup.
Yep, but this is a great time for them to start looking for team fights. Let's see, what does Doxy have? Oh, okay, so he's still far away from that mech. If Doxy could have gone a mech by now, possibly would have been pretty close without those 2 deaths. And Donkey with that Blink Dagger, they can look for very, very powerful team fights. 5-man push can start right now as we speak. Just the puck initiation, Doxia surging himself and then vacuuming everyone into Dream Coil, Waning Rift, Illusory Orb, Eclipse, and then have the 2 familiars land on top. But everything being said is in an ideal scenario, more than anything.
I mean, not only that.
How do you 5-man push against Nature's Prophet?
Yeah, and if you do 5-man push it, I mean, Luna will aid that, of course, with Lunar Blessing, but you really do just want your Luna farming around until she has a full-blown BKB at the very least. But it just seems like it'd be hard, even with that, for Mongolz to go in and make something happen. Sankey, though, now is invisible. Doesn't seem to really matter, though, because he got this ward right down, so they know he's going around. They know he's around here somewhere. Kipo immediately plants down a sentry. He's still within it. Arrow flies, and Sankey now giving up an easy kill to the Panthers and feeling maybe a little bit too confident, a little bit too protected in that invisibility rune.
Oh man, see, this is like some really good plays coming out of Panthers. Just having that sentry ward at mid, as soon as you know the Nyx is level 6, that sentry ward has been placed, as a matter of fact, for the Nyx assassin, but well, Nyx didn't get to use his Vendetta, but instead Puck is the one who walks over with the Invis rune and ends up dying in that trade.
Oh yeah, a little bit unfortunate as well. Had a blink, but you can't obviously blink when you're legitimately stun locked the entire time. It is giving Luna a little bit of space to farm up. Has hit level 2 obviously, so not too bad. Or I shouldn't say has hit level 2, has gotten Eclipse level 2. Oh, you know that thing when you look at something and you try and say it, but only half comes out?
Oh yeah. Well, I get that problem mostly with player names. Sometimes it's like, oh man, how do I pronounce this name? And then like, it just doesn't come out right whenever I try. I do try my best though.
Oh yeah, both of us trying our best, folks. So just hoping that everything is at least somewhat to your liking. Now Nyx Assassin getting a little bit of farm. Sankey's already got some of his prime items, of course, with that Blink Dagger. Would love to see a Blink Dagger on this Nyx Assassin as well. And you just have Shiny as well as TJ waiting in the wings, seeing if they can't find anybody. Earthshaker's actually got his Blink Dagger as well. While that's happening, Lifestealer way overstaying his welcome down here. Not too sure what he was doing there. Maybe feeling overly confident for sure. And, I mean, it just ends in his death. Not too great. And now that's going to equalize things up pretty nicely. And then, yeah, as mid, arrows flying, doesn't land, of course. And looks like Panthers able to leap out of whatever funniness was going on.
Oh, man. If I saw it correctly, Lifestealer was trying to solo kill the Luna. And then all the TP supports came and just popped him. And now this is going to be an easy tier 1 for Mongolz as well. So now they are starting to get some things in return, and that should be the BKB flying towards Luna, and with this BKB being picked up this early, well, it's a pretty good time, 15-16 minute mark, and the Ancients are being stacked as well, so yeah, Luna, he can start joining team fights, and if the Lifesteal Bomb ever comes in, he can at least take out, say, a Furion if the Treants are not being summoned.
Storm, yeah, using that Spike Carapace just to do a little bit of damage on TJ, but with that haste rune, he needs to actually be very careful here. Bane is here as well with the Fiend's Grip, and that's just feeding a kill. Maybe feeling a little bit too confident, couldn't quite, actually did know it was a haste rune, not too sure what he was doing there. but a little bit of misplay coming out of Storm, it seems.
And now Paksa and the rest of the Mongol